Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when we all feel stuck, lost, or trapped in the version of ourselves that no longer serves us. Sometimes the only way forward is to disappear, not from life, but from everything that limits our growth. Disappearing is not about running away, it is about retreating, rebuilding, and returning stronger. Life often throws challenges that break us, shatter our confidence, and make us question our worth. But in those moments, we are given a choice to remain as we are or to transform into something greater. And transformation begins the moment we step away from the noise of the world and step into the silence of self-reflection. Disappearing does not mean giving up. It means taking a step back to heal, to rediscover your passion, and to redefine yourself. In the process, you will lose people, old habits, and even the identity you once held onto so tightly. But that is the beauty of transformation. It requires you to shed your old skin to embrace the new. So if you are struggling, if you feel unseen or unheard, know this: your story is still being written. Retreat, reflect, rebuild. And when you return, you will not just be different, you will be unstoppable. Disappearing is often misunderstood. When we hear the word, we associate it with running away, abandoning responsibilities, or escaping from reality. But true disappearing is not about evading life. It is about stepping back from everything that holds us back, everything that confines us within a version of ourselves that no longer serves us. It is about retreating, not to escape, but to evolve. There comes a point in everyone's journey when they realize they are no longer the person they used to be, yet they are also not the person they wish to become. They are stuck in between, held hostage by expectations, fears, and the comfort of familiarity. This is when disappearing becomes necessary, not as an act of surrender, but as a strategy for transformation. Life moves fast, and often we find ourselves caught in its endless cycle, trying to meet deadlines, fulfill obligations, and live up to expectations. In this chaos, we forget ourselves. We become who we think we are supposed to be, rather than who we are meant to be. We follow the rules set by society, by our families, by the voices in our heads that tell us who we should become. But there comes a moment when that version of us begins to feel like a prison. The person we portray to the world no longer aligns with the person we feel inside. And that dissonance, the gap between who we are and who we want to be, creates an unbearable weight. That is when we must step back. That is when we must disappear. Disappearing does not mean isolating yourself forever. It does not mean you abandon life or the people who care about you. It means taking a conscious step away from the noise, from the influences that shape you without your permission. It means pausing, breathing, and giving yourself the space to listen to your own voice, rather than the voices of others. In the silence, you begin to hear yourself more clearly. You start understanding your own needs, your own desires, your own truths. You start peeling away the layers of expectations and uncovering the essence of who you truly are. This is not an act of weakness. It is an act of courage. It takes immense strength to admit that you need a reset, that you need time away to heal, to grow, to transform. Transformation is not a single moment. It is not something that happens overnight. It is a process, and like all processes, it requires time, patience, and effort. When you choose to disappear, you are choosing to step into that process fully, without distractions, without interruptions. You are choosing to shed old habits, old identities, old wounds that have kept you stagnant for too long. And shedding is painful. It requires you to confront parts of yourself that you have ignored, to face the fears you have suppressed, to acknowledge the dreams you have abandoned. It is in this confrontation that true change begins. Many people fear disappearing because they are afraid of losing themselves. But in reality, disappearing is where you truly find yourself. You start questioning what truly matters, what truly makes you happy, what truly defines success for you. You start realizing that much of what you held on to was never truly yours to begin with. The approval you sought, the image you tried to maintain, the dreams you chased, were they really yours? Or were they given to you by others? When you disappear, you strip away all that is false, all that is borrowed, all that is imposed upon you. And what remains is the purest, most authentic version of yourself. Transformation through disappearing is not just about the mind. It is about the soul. It is about healing wounds you did not even know existed. It is about reconnecting with yourself in a way that is deep, raw, and real. In the stillness of disappearance, you allow yourself to grieve. Grieve the past versions of yourself, grieve the opportunities lost, grieve the dreams that no longer fit who you are becoming. And then after grieving, you allow yourself to dream again. Not the dreams of the world, not the dreams that others have placed upon you, but your own dreams. The ones that set your soul on fire, the ones that make you feel alive. This journey is not easy. It will be lonely at times. You will question yourself. You will wonder if you are making a mistake. The world will not understand. People will ask where you have gone, why you have changed, why you no longer fit into the mold they once placed you in. But that is the price of transformation. Not everyone will understand, and that is okay. Because you are not transforming for them. You are transforming for yourself. And then one day, after the silence, after the solitude, after the deep work of shedding and rebuilding, you will emerge, not as the person you once were, but as the person you were always meant to be. And when you return, you will not just be different, you will be unstoppable. Healing and growth are deeply personal journeys, and solitude is often the most essential yet overlooked aspect of this process. In a world that constantly demands our attention, where we are expected to be connected, available, and engaged at all times, solitude can feel like an unnatural or even uncomfortable choice. However, stepping away from the noise of the world and into the quiet of our own company is where the most profound healing takes place. Growth does not happen when we are distracted by external validation, nor does healing occur when we are constantly seeking approval from others. Both require us to turn inward, to face ourselves fully, and to embrace the silence that solitude offers. Solitude allows us to hear our own thoughts without interference. In the presence of others, our opinions are often influenced by their perspectives, our emotions shaped by their expectations, and our choices guided by their judgments. When we are alone, we have the rare opportunity to process our emotions without external influence. We can sit with our pain, our fears, and our uncertainties without feeling the need to explain or justify them to anyone. This is the first step toward true healing, acknowledging our wounds without distraction. When we are constantly surrounded by people, we often suppress our pain to maintain appearances, to avoid making others uncomfortable, or to meet the expectations placed upon us. But healing requires us to confront what we have buried. It demands that we sit with our discomfort rather than run from it, and solitude provides the safe space necessary to do this difficult work. Growth, too, is a process that thrives in solitude. When we are alone, we gain clarity about who we truly are and what we truly want. So much of our identity is shaped by the roles we play in society, by the relationships we maintain, and by the environments we inhabit. We become accustomed to defining ourselves through the lens of how others see us. But in solitude, we strip away these external definitions and begin to understand ourselves on a deeper level. We start questioning what truly matters to us. We begin to differentiate between the dreams we have inherited from others and the ones that genuinely ignite our souls. Without solitude, we may spend our lives chasing goals that do not belong to us, following paths that were never meant for us, and living according to standards that do not align with our true selves. Growth requires the courage to step back from all of this and ask, who am I when no one is watching? What do I want when there is no one to impress? Where is my heart leading me when I silence the noise of the world? Healing is not just about mending what is broken. It is about understanding why it broke in the first place. It requires deep reflection, and reflection is only possible when we are alone with our thoughts. In solitude, we begin to recognize patterns in our lives, patterns of pain, patterns of self-sabotage, patterns of seeking validation in the wrong places. We start to see how our past experiences have shaped our present behaviors, how unhealed wounds continue to influence our choices, and how our fears dictate the limits we place on ourselves. This self-awareness is essential for healing because we cannot change what we do not understand. If we are constantly distracted by the opinions, demands, and expectations of others, we never give ourselves the chance to uncover these deeper truths. Solitude is the space where we can ask ourselves the hard questions, where we can sit with our emotions without judgment, and where we can begin the process of truly healing from the inside out. Growth is impossible without discomfort, and solitude forces us to face that discomfort head-on. When we are alone, we have no choice but to confront our deepest insecurities. We can no longer hide behind social interactions, busy schedules, or external achievements. We are left with only ourselves, and that can be terrifying. But it is also where true transformation begins. In solitude, we learn resilience. We learn to rely on our own strength rather than seeking constant reassurance from others. We learn to trust our own decisions rather than always looking for external validation. We learn to sit with our struggles, process them, and emerge stronger rather than avoiding them through distractions. This self-sufficiency is crucial for growth because it teaches us that we are capable of handling life's challenges on our own. It reminds us that we do not need to be constantly surrounded by people to feel whole. We can be complete within ourselves. Healing is often mistaken for forgetting, but true healing is about acceptance. It is about acknowledging what has hurt us, understanding its impact, and finding peace with it. Solitude provides the time and space needed for this acceptance to take place. When we are alone, we are able to grieve what we have lost, whether it is a person, a version of ourselves, or a dream that did not come true. We allow ourselves to feel every emotion without suppression, to cry when we need to sit in silence when words are not enough. In doing so, we give ourselves permission to heal in our own time, in our own way. Society often pushes us to move on quickly, to put on a brave face, to appear strong even when we are breaking inside. But healing cannot be rushed. It unfolds at its own pace, and solitude allows us to honor that process without pressure. Growth is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming more of who we truly are. It is about shedding the layers of fear, doubt, and societal conditioning that have kept us small. And this shedding requires solitude. When we are alone, we gain the freedom to explore different aspects of ourselves, to experiment with new ideas, and to redefine our values without outside interference. We start to understand our true desires, our passions, our strengths, and our weaknesses. We become more in tune with our intuition, more aware of our needs, and more aligned with our purpose. This is the kind of growth that lasts, not the temporary change that comes from external influence, but the deep, lasting transformation that comes from within. People often overestimate the power of self-promotion and underestimate the power of silent excellence. While marketing and visibility can play a role in success, they cannot replace the value of genuine skill and hard work. The most successful people understand this. They prioritize mastery over attention, depth over hype, and lasting impact over fleeting recognition. They do not chase validation because they know that true respect is earned, not demanded. The world is full of noise, people constantly broadcasting their achievements, seeking recognition, and competing for attention. But in the midst of all this, true excellence stands out precisely because it does not need to be announced. A well-crafted piece of art, a brilliant scientific discovery, an act of leadership that changes lives. These things do not need excessive explanation. They command attention on their own. When your work speaks for itself, opportunities come naturally. Instead of chasing recognition, recognition finds you. Instead of having to convince people of your worth, they see it for themselves. The best way to gain influence is not by demanding it, but by demonstrating value so clearly that people cannot ignore it. This approach requires faith in the long game. It requires trusting that consistent effort will lead to results, even if recognition does not come immediately. Many people give up too soon because they do not see immediate rewards. But those who persist, who continue refining their craft and delivering excellence without needing applause, ultimately build legacies that last far beyond their lifetimes. Letting your work speak for itself also cultivates authenticity. When you are not focused on impressing others, you can focus on what truly matters, creating something meaningful, making a difference, and continuously improving. And excellence once achieved cannot go unnoticed for long. Success built on words alone is fragile. It may gain attention quickly, but it does not endure. On the other hand, success built on substance is unshakable. It withstands criticism, outlasts trends, and continues to create impact even when the initial excitement fades. The choice is simple. Spend time talking about what you can do, or spend time actually doing it. The latter is what leads to real success. Those who understand this do not waste time on empty declarations. They channel their energy into meaningful action. They do not seek shortcuts to recognition because they know that true success is earned through hard work, not through words. Ultimately, the most powerful statement you can make is through your work. Not through self-promotion, not through exaggerated claims, but through undeniable excellence. The world respects those who deliver, not those who boast. If you want to be truly successful, focus on producing work so great that it speaks for you long after you are gone. Chase growth, not applause. In a world where validation often feels like the ultimate measure of success, it is easy to get caught up in seeking recognition rather than true progress. The constant need for approval can become a distraction from what truly matters, becoming better, stronger, and more capable than you were yesterday. Growth is a lifelong journey, but applause is temporary. Those who prioritize applause may gain momentary satisfaction, but those who focus on growth build something far more valuable, a foundation of excellence that lasts beyond the fleeting approval of others. From an early age, we are conditioned to seek external validation. We are praised for good grades, rewarded for achievements, and taught to believe that success is measured by how much recognition we receive. But as we grow older, we start to realize that applause is inconsistent. Sometimes, even when we work hard and achieve great things, there is no one there to clap for us. If we rely on applause as our motivation, we risk losing momentum when recognition does not come. Growth, on the other hand, is always within our control. It is something we can pursue regardless of who is watching, and it provides fulfillment that is not dependent on others' approval. There is a difference between being admired and being great. Many people spend their time trying to be admired, doing things not because they genuinely want to improve, but because they want to be seen as successful. This mindset leads to choices that prioritize visibility over substance. Instead of working on mastering their craft, they focus on making their work look impressive. Instead of pushing themselves to learn and evolve, they focus on maintaining an image of success. But admiration fades quickly, while true greatness is built through consistent, quiet, and often unnoticed effort. Chasing growth means valuing progress over perception. It means understanding that the most important rewards are not the ones that come from applause, but the ones that come from pushing past limits, acquiring new skills, and deepening one's understanding of the world. When a person is driven by growth rather than recognition, their motivation becomes unshakable. They do not need an audience to continue striving. They are not discouraged by lack of attention because their true reward is the personal development they experience along the way. One of the greatest dangers of seeking applause is that it often leads to stagnation. When a person becomes too focused on maintaining external validation, they stop taking risks. They stop challenging themselves out of fear that failure will damage their reputation. But failure is a natural and necessary part of growth. Those who are truly committed to improving themselves do not shy away from difficulty just because it might not look impressive to others. They embrace challenges, knowing that each setback is an opportunity to learn. They are willing to struggle in the dark without recognition because they understand that real success is built in those unseen moments of effort. The pursuit of growth requires patience. Many people crave immediate recognition, but growth does not work that way. Mastery takes time. Real improvement requires years of dedication, practice, and persistence. Those who are only in it for the applause often quit when they do not see instant results. But those who prioritize growth understand that progress happens gradually. They are willing to invest in the long game, knowing that true success is not about quick wins but about sustained improvement over time. When you chase growth, you become immune to the opinions of others. Applause can be misleading. Sometimes people will praise work that is not truly exceptional, and other times they will fail to recognize greatness when they see it. If you base your self-worth on applause, you will always be at the mercy of external opinions. But if you focus on growth, you develop a sense of internal validation. You become the kind of person who does not need others to tell you that you are improving. You can feel it for yourself. There is something deeply fulfilling about knowing that you are becoming better, even if no one else notices. When you are focused on growth, you measure success by how much you have learned, how much stronger you have become, and how much you have improved. This kind of success is far more rewarding than fleeting recognition. It is the kind of success that cannot be taken away because it is built into who you are. Chasing growth instead of applause also fosters resilience. When your goal is to be admired, failure feels like a disaster. But when your goal is to improve, failure becomes a stepping stone. Those who prioritize growth do not fear setbacks because they understand that every challenge is an opportunity to get better. They are not discouraged by criticism because they see it as feedback rather than judgment. They are not driven by the need to be seen as successful, but by the desire to truly become successful. It is important to remember that applause is not always an indicator of true achievement. Sometimes the most important work happens behind the scenes, away from the spotlight. A scientist working for years on a breakthrough discovery, an artist perfecting their craft in solitude, an entrepreneur building something meaningful without immediate recognition. These are examples of people who choose growth over applause. They do not need instant validation because they trust in the value of their work. They know that the impact they create is far more important than the recognition they receive. There is freedom in not chasing applause. When you stop worrying about how others perceive you, you gain the ability to take risks, explore new paths, and fully commit to your own journey. You no longer feel the pressure to meet other people's expectations, and instead, you can focus on what truly matters to you. This kind of freedom allows for deeper creativity, greater innovation, and more meaningful accomplishments. Success that is built on applause is fragile. It depends on the continued approval of others, and the moment that approval fades, it can leave a person feeling lost. But success that is built on growth is unshakable. It is rooted in genuine progress, in the skills and knowledge that a person has developed over time. It does not disappear when recognition is gone, because it was never dependent on recognition in the first place. The world is full of distractions, and one of the greatest distractions is the need to be seen as successful rather than actually becoming successful. It is easy to fall into the trap of performing for others instead of truly working on oneself. But those who make the conscious choice to focus on growth over applause find a deeper and more lasting form of success. They are not controlled by trends or external opinions. They do not waste energy trying to impress others. Instead, they direct all their effort toward becoming the best version of themselves. Ultimately, growth is its own reward. When you prioritize improvement over recognition, you build a life of purpose and fulfillment. You stop comparing yourself to others and start measuring your success based on your own progress. You become more resilient, more creative, and more confident. You stop worrying about whether people are applauding and start focusing on whether you are truly growing. And when you do that, success is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you naturally achieve. Success is not measured by how many people applaud you, but by how much you have grown. In a world that constantly seeks validation, choosing quiet excellence over loud recognition is an act of strength. True achievement is not in proving yourself to others, but in proving to yourself that you are capable of more. Let your work speak so powerfully that it does not need explanation. Focus on personal progress rather than external approval. Chase mastery, not admiration. Build a success that lasts, one that is rooted in resilience, discipline, and silent perseverance. Do not seek the spotlight. Seek growth. Do not chase applause. Chase purpose. Chase purpose. Because in the end, the most meaningful success is the one that transforms you, not just the one that impresses others.